Drivetime Radio with New York Vinnie.
On this week's edition of Yo, Vinnie, what are you driving this week? What about the show?
Yo, Vinnie, what are you driving this week?
Have a little fun. It is a fun day here out at
You're listening to Drivetime Radio.
Remember, just plug in. I'm ready.
There we go, and I am ready to get this thing rolling at 11:20 on a Saturday morning. A very good Saturday morning to you. New York Vinnie here with you on this August 15th, halfway through the month of August already. Can it be that Labor Day is just foisting upon us as fast as it can be? Bum, 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 bum. Here it comes. Labor Day. What's worse than that is that the Seahawks season kind of gets rolling here, or at least the preseason does. The part where they charge you for all the money for the tickets and don't give you real games back. But you sports suckers, you'll pay for it anyway. Don't you know? I mean, if there's anything we've found out over the past few years, it's that sports people will pay top dollar for anything. Anything. I sometimes try to figure out where it all went wrong. Where was that point where we said that, hey, we'll pay anything, and maybe the Monterey Speed Week is it? It is Monterey, the whole week with the concourse and everything for the rich car people down in with the beautiful people, the people that don't get invited to the grand events by the car companies, the people who basically tell you anything. Oh, it's a good car. It just had a couple of flaws, like the engine would fall out at 100,000 miles. But don't worry, fill me up on a little more of that free espresso from that free espresso bar there, car company. We'll do that. That's why I'm kind of proud to say that I haven't been on one of those car things in a long time. I don't know if it's that they haven't invited me, or it's that I just don't have a desire to go. I mean, I've kind of, I enjoyed going to them. I used to get invited to a lot of them. The reality is the lie that's expected for you to tell you about their car, how good it is, because they loaded me up with something, is many times ridiculous. So anyway, that's not the direction I want to go down to this morning. Seahawks are opening up tonight, and open up. Well, it's not really. They open up the defense of their Super Bowl trophy, because it's not the defense until game 1 of the season against, I believe, New England. So enjoy what you see today. And dream about the future. Can they do it for the second time in a row? I hope so. This town was pretty pumped up about it the last time, although not as pumped up as I had seen it before. But as I've been preaching about sports and many things in life, that if I've learned anything in life, is that the first time is the best time. You'll have a better time the first time you do something. Think about it. First time you buy a house. First time you have sex. First time that your child hits a home run in the Little League. First, all of those first, there's nothing that's ever as good. And that's why I always tell people, appreciate it. there's one huge sports first that we have coming here. And that is to be in and to win a World Series. Hasn't happened either way for the Mariners yet. And that's the one thing, really the one thing I hope, sincerely hope, that I am around for. Sincerely hope that I will be afforded the opportunity to be with the people of Seattle when this baseball team finally gets to the World Series. I don't know if it's going to be this year or not. I kind of know, but I'm not saying just quite yet. I don't want to jinx it. But the idea here is simply that hopefully this team will straighten itself out. Some of the things that are wrong will turn right, and we'll have a decent run in the playoffs. And who knows? That's the new beauty of baseball, is that things can happen. You don't have to be the best team anymore to get into the playoffs. You just got to be lucky at the right time, or good at the right time. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go with good at the right time, and that'll deliver more results than a full season of being good, of how good you are. So you got that. But this is a show about cars, so hopefully we delivered to you this morning a show about cars. Let's see. You got my order. All right, that's for later. Okay. I got a notice of something, and I had nothing to know. I didn't know anything about it. So, all right. Anyway, let's get down to brass tacks. We got a show for you today. Oh, do we got a show for you today? And we're going to try to make it happen without any hitches. Don't count on it, but we're going to try to make it happen. I'm working with a bit of a dry throat today. I spent the night in the hospital this week, again, for throat problems that we're trying to get straightened out and fixed. But if you do what I do for a living, if you talk to people for a living, you realize that your voice is one of the things that you are given as a gift in life. And when that voice all of a sudden has the possibility of being taken away from you, you are afraid of it. Now, I'm not talking about mentally taken away by somebody saying you're not going to have a show anymore. I'm talking about physically. Like when the doctor says to you, we're going to have to go into your throat and open it up and take some stuff out of there. And the distinct possibility exists that when we sew you up, you may not sound the same as you do when we opened you up. So that's one of the things that I faced this morning. And again, we were facing this week in the hospital. And hopefully it'll get straightened out and I won't be going through this incredible stuff. So if I seem a little off today, if I seem a little verklempt about a few things, that's what's going on. That's one of the things that I'm looking at. And saying, okay, this is what's happening. Let's get into the let's get into the what's happening in the world stuff today. I had a bunch of notes, and all of my notes just seemed to go to shit. So I apologize for that. We will get them all straightened out for you. Bunch of stuff that is going on today or this week in sports. One of the things that we look at sometimes is what's going on down at Speed Week in Monterey. I already slammed that, didn't I? Anyway, we usually take a trip down there, but for some reason, just because of everything that was going on this week, with myself, we didn't get a chance to get a get somebody that could take care of business for me. So we'll just have to use our imagination of the Whispering Pines of Monterey, the salt air, and so on and so forth, and it all coming together against some beautiful metal. And that I will tell you that if you ever do something in your life that you should, without a doubt, go to Monterey Speed Week. If you ever have a chance to go down to Monterey Speed Week, the Monterey goings on, and check it out, do that. Go down and see what's going on down there at beautiful Monterey, California, and all of the places that go along with it. Yeah, if you get a chance to go down and check it out, do that. The atmosphere, the parties, stuff, all the stuff that the car companies put on, different people put on, different stars put on, Jay Leno puts on. It's an amusement park for people that like high-end cars. You get to see things like the Aston Martin Vallon. $2 million price tag, $2.5 million, I believe. Monterey Car Week is where it'll be debuted. The company's most powerful front-end production car. But what's more important and I don't know why they didn't make this a pickup truck, because it is 50% louder, the Vallon, than the Vanquish, which is the car that it's based on. And you say, well, who cares? But people that drive these kind of things, that's how they get their attention. It's how they get their rocks off. As they drive down the street with a car as loud as you can get it. It's no longer cool enough to have the loudest radio on the block. You now have to have the loudest car on the block. And to illustrate that last night, I happened to come across an ad on YouTube, grossly over-addicted to YouTube, about these guys that live in who the hell knows where, somewhere, Tennessee, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, one of those places that fall between how fast can I get the hell out of here and am I in California yet? Anyway, their big charge was they bought a set of train horns, and they could install these train horns in their pickup truck, their Chevy pickup truck, their Silverado pickup truck, that they could take out the spare tire and install this set of horns in there. And the carrier provided. And that would give them some sense of macho over some other people that would be riding down that same road at about that same time. Now listen, I used to have the loudest car on the block. I had the woofers and the whole thing. But there was a part where I kind of grew up from that. And I guess they just haven't gotten there yet. When you're putting train horns in your pickup truck, taking out your spare tire for it, you haven't gotten there yet. Wherever it is you think you're going, you haven't gotten there yet. And there's a small percentage of those people who are hanging out on Aurora by Dick's, Highway 99 by Dick's, and aren't ever going to get there. They think that, having the coolest car on the block is unbolting the mufflers and letting it go as loud as it can, or the diesel exhaust and letting it go as loud as it can, and spizzing up a bunch of smoke and noise and letting it rest in on your lungs to pull them out of your body and cancerize them as quickly as possible. That's their idea of a beautiful thing. That's the kind of noise you want to have coming out of your car. That's what they are saying is what's going to be the coolest noise that you can get out of your car. All right, what else we got going on here this morning? I was checking out a little while ago. I'm looking, I'm seeing these jadrules with different stuff down there at Monterey and so far and so forth. And I gotta say that I was rather impressed with some of the iron that I looked at until I realized that most of it isn't iron. One of the cars that drew a lot of notice over the weekend was the BMWs. They always do draw notice. Debuts, heritage celebrations, motorsport appearances, and all of this stuff. They fill up the Monterey Peninsula every year with a lot of BMW stuff. The Alpina, the M3s, and the famous fashion cars to try to keep BMW top of mind for everybody. Especially when you go to try to repair one. If you don't think you're paying for that fashion car that cost $1.5 million that they got parked on some golf course on Monterey, the peninsula, believe me, go get your transfer case repaired on your BMW, and you'll see how much you're paying for it. You're paying for it. So that's something to me to always think about when you buy these cars. Ford made a splash this week. As they know how to do, with a version of a four-door Mustang. It's funny because when we hear four-door in America, we get nervous. It's not a real car, even though we've been eschewing cars here in this country for decades now. For people to be up in arms about a four-door Mustang almost makes me pee in my pants. Mercedes has had a four-door Mustang, a four-door Mercedes sports car for years. BMW has had four-door sports cars for years. They built them everywhere else around the world, but I guess this is not American. A four-door performance car is not American. Anyway, it looks like Ford put that out into the universe. With this four-door Mustang. See, there's two problems. Is the American people have been forced to fall out of love with their cars. They've been forced because of the limited offerings, and because cars were not as profitable as pickup trucks and as SUVs. We've been forced out of cars. And the cars that we've been given have been substandard cars. There haven't been a lot of thought, a lot of imaginativity, a lot of creativity put into cars. They put as my friend Ray from Car Edge always says, they put a poop ton of creativity into how to price a $40,000 SUV at $80,000. Or $40,000 pickup truck at $90,000. But there are a hell of a lot of good cars out there. To be honest with you, when they come out with a good car, the automotive media trashes them. Oh, they're not this, they're not that, they're not European, they're not this, they're not. Well, Ford seems to be calling them on their bluff and saying, we're seriously thinking about putting out a four-door performance car in the shape of a Mustang. And of course, these days with AI, it's on the street already. I mean, there's people showing up at their Ford dealer trying to buy one already. Hey, here's $50,000. I put it down. When what America needs is the car that not many people are talking about, that was talked about from Ford this year, a $25,000 hybrid utility vehicle. Not a car, but a small pickup truck. Hybrids are the most popular car in America. You don't believe me? Go to a Toyota dealership and try to buy one. You can't do it. Or not one that's any good. You can buy a car, and all of their cars are good. I take that back. Actually, I shouldn't say that because their cars are good. The Toyota Corolla, the different cars that Toyota puts out, the Camry, the Crown version of a station wagon. Those vehicles are good vehicles. Toyota knows how to build a car. And that's why you can't get one if you want a Toyota. They're hard to get. If you want a RAV4, forget about it. You ain't going to get one unless you know somebody at the dealership. So the American automobile industry right now is flailing, is looking for a magic bullet that will incorporate hybrids, which everybody has been told is the best thing you can buy, because we've lost ourselves as Americans. So we don't, we can't even get to point A to point B without worrying about how we're going to get there. We can't take a car and say, okay, we're going to make it and just go. So the Ford people said, okay, we're gonna come up with this four-door Mustang that'll start under $40,000, and it's going to be quick, and it's going to be snappy, and you're going to be able to buy one in a couple of years. And then they also came out with this $25,000 hybrid utility that you should see around 2029. And that's something that you're going to see. So keep your eyes on all of the different um, iterations and configurations because you're going to see a lot about it in the next couple of years. By the way, the four-door Mustang and the utility type vehicle, which a lot of people are reading as small pickup truck, were not shown in Monterey, California so far this week, but were shown, or at least last I heard, they were in Vegas at a dealer's meeting. And that's what people have seen and looked at. That's what you're getting right now. Four-door Mustang Saloon, Mach 4 is what they're codenaming it, at a private conference in Las Vegas. Not a bad-looking car. But it's touching the bases for something that a lot of people think that the American automobile industry ought to get back to, and that is building cars. And in a segment that really has not been going well for the people that have been building cars there so far. The four-door Charger, turbocharged inline six and electric options, has not been going well for Dodge. Chevy is talking about a four-door Camaro for around 2029. That would have a V8 rear-wheel drive and maybe even a manual gearbox in it. Dealers were reportedly told, this coming from Auto NXT, my friend Perry Stern and company, that think of these cars, these Ford sedans that we're talking about, these Mustang sedans, the Mach 4, as cars similar to the Audi S5 and the BMW M3. So if you're familiar with those cars, that's the classic car we're looking at. Is that going to be a foreign intended car that becomes domestic, or is it going to be a domestic intended car that becomes foreign? We don't know yet. They want to see what the demand is going to be. So, is it going to be a hybrid? Is it going to be a regular? There's a lot of questions about this. But again, interesting stuff. For the consumer. Interesting stuff for the person that is a Ford fanatic. If you're one of those people that read the Ford newsletter every week and you got to know what's going on with the Fords, no matter what they are, built in Windsor, Detroit, Cleveland, River Rouge, or wherever it is, there is some brightness in this tunnel. That really is continuing. I mean, Ford has taken a lot of financial hits over the last couple of years, but they have seemed to have been able to weather the different financial storms. It took a huge bath on electricity. Partially because of the political situation in this country. where people all of a sudden lost faith in their electric cars. See, part of faith is believing that the entity that is trying to get you to believe in them can accomplish what they are doing. And a lot of people did not believe that anybody could produce an electric car that would do the work that people wanted it to do, to be an everyday workhorse and also be a pleasurable car and not have you worry about stopping for gas. The hybrid kind of slipped in there and fill that bill. So that's something I think that is not going to hurt you to look at. Speaking about electrics, one of the great debuts at Monterey this week was a debut that has debuted already. Get that? Got that? Good. The Myers-Manx. You know what a Myers-Manx is? Myers-Manx is a sweet little ride that is a dune buggy. It's a cool little dune buggy. I'm going to do my best here to call up a Myers-Manx on my screen here for you, and hope that it doesn't come across as some HEIC crap file. Oh, this is a new one. So we're going to make a really quick. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. And we're going to give you a picture of what a Myers-Manx looks like. Okay, save the photos. Saved it to photos. Got that. And we're going to get this here in just a second for you, I promise you. You know, I'm about as frustrated as one human being should. I don't know why this and anyway. I really have come to just a realization that I absolutely dislike, hate computers. Sorry about that, folks, but I'm really but sometimes, and this is my fault here, but the Myers-Manx, for those of you who go back a ways, were the original cool dune buggy. Okay, if you had a Myers-Manx, you would buy a Volkswagen in the 60s, you would take the body off of it, and you would be left with a frame and seats and a steering column and stuff like that, and be able to take that and buy a kit that would drop another fiberglass body onto it. And if you lived in California and you had Beach Boys music, you could just live your entire life driving that Myers-Manx down a block. Let me see if we can share the screen here. Share the screen. We tried this, the Manx here. That's the Myers-Manx right there. That's the 2026 Myers-Manx that is devoid of the sounding of a Volkswagen engine or a Porsche engine or a spectacular Corvair engine. And I was, but replaced with engines is a battery. And this thing rolls down the road. It's probably going to cost you about $100,000 to get into one, if you can buy one. But let me tell you something. You're nuts if you wouldn't want to be driving this thing down Sunset on a beautiful night in Southern California with the Beach Boys blaring out of your speakers. And it really is one of the ultimate look-at-me cars. And to think that you could have bought one of these and driven one for less than $10,000 when they first were put out on the street. The kit came as a kit. It came in a box and was delivered to your garage. And was a beautiful piece of car. And I can't wait till I get a chance to drive one. They're showing them off at Monterey this week. They say it's 2 years away from production. But this thing will be engineered head to toe for electrics. And I think one thing that the Myers-Manx is going to show is that the Manx 2.0 is going to be a bit of the freedom of electric cars and what you can do with an electric car when you are not specified into a particular need for a car. Nobody at Myers is going to walk out of their warehouse or their showroom or wherever they're holed up and say, you should be driving this car to work every day. 1 or 2 days a week, maybe. 3 days a week, maybe. But nobody's going to be... But what somebody is going to say is if you want a groovy car and you live in Arizona or Southern California, you want something that you can go take a ride in after work and enjoy, lose yourself for a few hours, and you got the kind of cash to do that, there's a car you should have on your list. That's a car that when you come home, when you pick your kid up from school in that car, Daddy's going to be the coolest daddy on the block. Especially with those black plates on it. By the way, have you seen the California black plates? I mean, the Washington State black plates. Not as cool looking as California's, but a nice effort. By the state of Washington. Right. Um, let's see if I can find this here. Um, okay, 1 second here. So try to punch this up real quick. Um, all right, Ray, where are you? Okay, these are your 10 impossible cars to get on a deal right now from my friends at Car Edge. Love these guys. Wish them all the success in the world, Ray and his son. Ray's a good guy. And a straight shooter, and I really enjoy watching his show. Kid makes me a little whacked out, but hey, they figured out a way to make money off of these particular things, and anyway, this is actually kind of funny because um, unfortunately, the way they have this set up, I love Car Edge. I think one of the things that they should spend more time do is stop hyping themselves and give us straight lists of things that they want to give us list. If you want to give me a list of something, give me a list. Don't give me 20 minutes of explaining why Ray used to be a car dealer. We know that. That's the reason we checked in here. But again, uh there's anyway, even when you go in and use the transcript, it makes it impossible to use. So therefore, we're not going to use them. Um, they don't want. See, here's the thing. I want them to give me a clear list so that I can give you a list, and then say to you, go look at these vehicles. This is what Car Edge says this is, but they want to play with. They want to show you this and that, and their statistical quantitativity of everything. So, if you want to find out their thoughts of 10 cars that are impossible to get to a deal right now, if you want to muddle through the stuff that's on there, you can. When they develop a list that I can sit here and read to you in a minute and a half or 2 minutes, then I'll read that to you. But unfortunately, they're, you know, I just, anyway, I'm getting muddled up in my own stuff here. So this is a bust as far as trying to read these guys on the fly. You can give me all these pictures of Ray looking mean that you want, but we all know Ray's a pussycat. But if you want people to quote your stories to people, you got to make them easy. If you look at every news release that's sent out to reporters and people that do what I do, it's built so that I can refer you to their YouTube channel, to their television program, to whatever it is. And when you try to play coy games with people and try to, it doesn't work out right. And it's embarrassing. By the way, there's a guy. I just want to. I hope that you maybe know this guy, and because I have a lot of friends that live out on Long Island, Deer Park, Long Island, that you know this guy. Maybe when you're driving by his house, you'll go and drop a bag of piss on his house, or something like that. Here's a guy. He was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison in 2020 this week for a nail salon crash that killed 4 people and injured 9. Stephen Schwally's blood alcohol content was more than twice the legal limit at the time of the crash in Deer Park. He flipped off a news photographer in court during his sentencing on Wednesday, August 12th. Hey, you know what? Some people try to make a last-ditch impression on the world. Anyway, 66 years old. Guy sentenced 25 to life. 4 counts of second-degree murder. He killed 37-year-old Jian Shai Chen, Zhan Yu, Maisie Zhang, and Amelia Rennick, who was a patron, was also an off-duty New York City police officer. He drank until his blood alcohol content, this is Schwally, was more than twice the legal limit. Got behind the wheel of an SUV, ran 4 stop signs, and sped through a red light. And he has the balls to give somebody the finger. This guy isn't even sorry he did it. He's doing 78 miles an hour in 2024 when his SUV went airborne and crashed into a nail and spa joint on Grand Boulevard in Deer Park. 9 others injured. Drunk bastard. Earlier in the day, already drunk, Schwally stopped at a liquor store in the same strip mall as the place that he destroyed, the lives he destroyed, and bought 2 bottles of Montebello Long Island iced tea cocktail. So, when you see a drunk driver walk away from a conviction, you see a drunk driver get away with some of the stuff that they get away with, this is the end result. This is the end of that road. some scumbag will have to pay for him to live the rest of his life. While this family will not have their father, their mother, their sister, their brother. New York City will be one less cop because this scumbag decided to drink a couple of quarts of Long Island iced tea. And that's the end result. So maybe one of these days we'll get some politicians that have the balls enough to put some teeth into drunk driving laws. And instead of Congress wasting our time on whether they should prosecute this guy or prosecute that guy, they'll put some teeth into a highway law and highway laws at the federal level that will do something about people who get behind the wheel of their cars, who get behind the wheel of their trucks, intoxicated, and drive them and kill people. Maybe we'll do that someday. Maybe we'll do that someday. All right, listen. That's going to put it in the books for us today. I appreciate you listening. It was a tough show today for a number of reasons, but we'll be back at it next week because that's what we do. We do a show called Drive Time. Every Saturday morning around 11 o'clock, we drop the show. We get to listen. You get to listen to the first version live, and then every version after that, it's up to you how you want to listen to it. But you can find us on social media. You can find us on different platforms. And hopefully in the next week or two, you'll find me in a better state as I work on my health journey here. And get out to a baseball game or two. Relax a little bit. But have an enjoyable rest of your weekend, and we'll catch up with you on Monday morning with Michael, if the Lord's willing, and the creek don't rise. Have a good one, folks. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.